Welcome to Lively Lewis Stories.
Buckle up, because you're about to join Levi and Ivy on an adventure.
All you need is your imagination, and off we
go! Lively Lewis Stories!
3, 2, 1! Called out Levi, Ivy, and their classmates as the submarine they're in dipped below the surface of the ocean waves. The world around them changed completely in just an instant. Schools of colorful fish swam by, their fins shimmering as they glided this way and that. Sea turtles floated along without a care in the world, munching on seagrass and waving to the kids with their huge flippers. Jellyfish bobbed up and down in the water as they drifted along with the current. "That reminds me of a joke," Levi said with a giggle. "What kind of sandwich do sea turtles bring on school field trips?" "Peanut butter and jellyfish." Levi laughed as Ivy and his classmates rolled their eyes. They had heard all of Levi's silly jokes many times before. They were so interested in watching the animals outside the submarine windows that they weren't really paying much attention anyways. As they sunk deeper under the waves, the water became still and filled with giant, colorful coral. The reef was home to so many animals, the kids started calling out everything they were seeing. Clownfish, stingrays, reef sharks, dolphins, sea lions, and so many more. "We need to get a picture of this!" exclaimed Ivy as she remembered about the underwater camera that was attached to the outside of the submarine. All the kids agreed as they stepped in front of a large control panel on the wall of the submarine. There were levers, knobs, buttons, TV monitors, and lots of other very important and complicated-looking things. "I'm sure we can figure out which of these operates the underwater camera," said Ivy. "I definitely know which button it is," declared Shelby, one of the other kids on the submarine. She stepped towards the big metal panel with her finger outstretched. "It's this one!" But before she could press the button, Levi's friend Connor stepped in front of her. "You have no idea what you're talking about," Connor snapped at Shelby. "It's actually this button." But before Connor could press the button, Ivy stopped him. "Actually, Connor and Shelby, you're both wrong," Ivy pointed out. "It's clearly this big blue button right here." Well, the suggestions didn't stop there, and neither did Levi's bad jokes. "Hey everyone, which fish was named funniest in their class?" Levi began as his classmates groaned. "The clownfish, of course." Get it? Get it? Because clowns are funny. "Levi, just stop," shouted Devin. "No one wants to hear any more of your jokes. They're not even funny." Levi looked sad and walked away from the group with his head down as Devin and the rest of the kids turned their attention back to the big control panel. Ivy was so busy trying to press the button for the underwater camera that she didn't even check on Levi. Each kid in the class had their own thoughts about which button to press and to get the best underwater picture until all of a sudden they couldn't hold back and each of them pressed a different button at the same time. That was not the best idea. The engine to the submarine stopped immediately. With a loud grinding sound and a little puff of gray smoke could be seen sailing up towards the surface. All the animals swimming and playing by the reef were scared by the noise and quickly swam away. And that's when the real problem began. This would have been a great time for all the kids in the submarine to work together to find a solution to their underwater problem. But unfortunately, that didn't happen. "Good job, Shelby. I told you it was the wrong button," Connor said in a huff. "My button wasn't wrong, it was yours," Shelby replied. "Well, I think you're both wrong," argued Devin. "Clearly my button was the correct choice, and by pushing all the others, you all sank the submarine," Ivy quickly added. All the kids were arguing so much that they didn't quite realize that they were sinking deeper and deeper into the ocean. The once colorful and sunlit water around them began to turn dark. Emergency lights on the submarine turned on and finally got the kids' attention. But that didn't stop the name calling and arguing. It only made them realize that they had a bigger problem on their hands than they first thought. "Oh, great. See what you did, Connor?" Devin called out. "How are we going to get out of this mess?" Just then, the submarine landed with a thud, and everything was still and dark outside the windows. So dark, in fact, that the kids could see their submarine was teetering on the edge of a very tall underwater cliff. As they blamed each other for their situation, the kids pounded around the submarine, each trying to find their own solution instead of working together. The constant movement rocked the little submarine back and forth as the bioluminescent light of deep-dwelling sea creatures dotted the dark water like stars in the night sky. As the submarine rocked and moved, it got closer and closer to the edge of the cliff until finally it went over. At that moment, the kids knew they were sinking even further and started to get scared. "What are we gonna do?" Ivy said, looking at the other kids. "You all did this. You have to fix it." "If you would have listened to my jokes instead of arguing, then we wouldn't be in this mess in the first place," added Levi as he rejoined the group. "No one wants to hear your jokes, Levi," Shelby called out. "Yeah, they're not funny," added Devin. All the kids started to talk over each other and blame each other for the situation they were in, but not once did any of them suggest that maybe they apologize to each other and work together to find a solution. As the kids continued to argue, the submarine once again touched down on solid ground. But when they looked out the windows, they couldn't believe what they saw. The dark, murky waters had been replaced by the most beautiful undersea kingdom they could have ever imagined. Rainbow fish, dolphins, and whales played together amongst flowing kelp and colorful coral. But that was totally normal compared to what they saw next. Mer people? Shelby and Ivy called out as the mermaid and merman swam up to the side of the submarine. They wore shell jewelry and coral crowns, and their tails, it shimmered and glowed as they swam through the water. "This is amazing," Devin and Connor shouted. By the time Levi ran over to take a look himself, even though he was still feeling a little bad about how the other kids had treated him, he couldn't miss this. "Hello," the mer people said. "What brings you to our wonderful world under the waves?" The kids started to explain their situation, and right away the mer people knew exactly how to fix it. Shelby started out, then Devin interrupted her. Ivy and Connor, they were talking all over each other, and Levi, he just sat by himself and he didn't interact at all. "It seems that you have a much bigger problem than a submarine that's not working," said the mermaid. "You seem to have a whole group that's not working," added the merman. The kids all stopped and listened to what they had to say. The mer people told them that unkind words create unkind situations, hurt feelings, and misunderstandings. They went on to tell them that the only way they would be able to get back home is if they worked together, considered each other's feelings, and treated each other as they would like to be treated. "We'll leave you alone for a little bit to see if you can work this out," the mermaid said before swimming away. "We know you can do it," added the merman as he followed close behind her. Ivy, Shelby, Devin, Connor, and Levi all sat together on the floor of the submarine. Then Shelby suggested that they all take turns saying how they were feeling. Everyone took a turn and expressed that they felt hurt, that no one was listening to them. "That's funny how we all are upset about the same thing," Ivy giggled. For the first time since they got on the submarine, all the kids were smiling. "I think I saw a submarine instruction sheet over there by the door," said Devin. "Maybe we can look at it together and see how to get the sub working again." Ivy and Connor grabbed the sheet and everyone looked through it together. They quickly found out that one of the buttons they had pressed was a master shutoff, and all they had to do to get the sub up and running was push the button again. The kids were happy that they figured out how to get back to the surface, but they were even happier that they were all friends again. "You know what we need to celebrate solving our problem together?" Ivy asked. "A joke." "Yeah, Levi, we're sorry that we weren't being nice to you before," said Devin. "Your jokes are always funny," said Shelby. "Get it? Fin? Like fish fins." Levi was happy to hear his friends apologize and was ready with the perfect joke. "What fish is best at solving math problems?" Levi asked. "A tuna fish?" Everyone laughed out loud as the mer people swam back to the submarine window. "It looks like this group has fixed their problem," the mermaid said. "Good for you." "Always remember what you learned here today," began the merman. "Working together, considering each other's feelings, and treating others as you would like to be treated will always save the day. Kind words will always move you closer to a solution because everyone will feel valued, appreciated, and heard," the mermaid added. "Have a wonderful trip back to the surface and come back to visit us again soon." The kids waved goodbye to the mer people and thanked them for their help. Since they worked together and read the submarine instruction sheet, They now all knew which button controlled the outside camera. So, as the submarine began to rise up from the ocean floor, they pushed the button together, took a picture of the amazing underwater world they had discovered. They never wanted to forget the mer people or the amazing advice that they were told that day under the sea. Did you learn a lesson from this story?
If so, what was it?
And parents, do your kids have a story idea?
Leave a comment on our Apple Podcast review page with 5 stars, the idea, and your kid's name for a chance to join Levi and Ivy on their next adventure. Until next time.
Thanks for listening. Come back for more.